Hi, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018. Happy New Year. You're watching WGAN TV live at 5, and our guest today, Blue Sketch founder, head designer Petra Soderling. Petra, good to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
Always
Happy New
good.
Year.
Happy New Year. Always good visiting with you. I think we started the forum back in August 2014, and I think shortly after you had joined and we were doing things together. So just always good to get a chance to chat and visit with you.
Yep, me too.
Let's just assume that I'm a newbie to the We Get Around Network Forum. It's my first time tuning into WGAN TV live at 5. I haven't heard anything about Blue Sketch and our program today about virtual staging. So how about taking us through a little background just about Blue Sketch even before we get into our program today?
Sure. Thanks, Dan, and great to be here. Thanks for having me. I founded Blue Sketch 2 years ago. Early 2016. I was working in the space even before that, but the company actually was founded in February 2016. We started simply by drawing floor plans out of Matterport 3D models. At that time, Matterport didn't have their own floor plans at all. So that's how we got started. Gradually, we added other products around Matterport and also doing floor plans for developers out of construction blueprints. So basically, we're creating very high quality real estate marketing materials, so digital material for real estate agents, contractors, developers, Matterport pros. That's it in a nutshell.
Terrific. So 2D floor plans, 3D floor plans, virtual staging, and a product called Smart Tags, which is fascinating in itself. We won't spend too much time doing kind of the overview today because we actually visited with you for about an hour on WGAN TV Live at 5. That does an overview of all Blue Sketch services. So we'll repost that in our discussion of the We Get Around Network forum. So those that want to do a little bit deeper dive into your other services. But today we were going to focus on virtual staging. And again, let's assume I've never heard of virtual staging. It sounds fascinating. Even before you dive into your program today, maybe you could just maybe show us some before and after examples so that we know what we're talking about today.
I'd love to. I'm just going to share our website. I think that tells the story. And
okay, and your website is blue-sketch.com.
Correct.
BLUE, yes, BLUE-sketch.com. Okay, we're on your website.
Okay, great. So when you land on the website, you've got all the services. There's a pull-down menu here. But before we go to the actual services and the products, I just want to mention, oops, I didn't mean to do that, sorry. I just want to mention that, yes, we do have a suite of services that we offer, but at core, Blue Sketch was founded and still continues to be a customer service company. So we have a lot of other services that we don't display here. So if you have any needs on any computer graphics for anything, virtual tours, we're going to be launching some of these services that have been kind of hidden, over the next few months as well. But if you have a need that you don't see here on the website, feel free to give me a call. Our philosophy is kind of to make our clients succeed, not necessarily circled around the products and services, but circled around the people that we work with. So having said that, virtual staging is here right on the front page. If you look at the two photos, these are high quality DSLR photographs. One on the left side is of an empty living room from a listing that was up a few months ago. I think it's not up anymore. Hopefully it's been sold. And then on the right-hand side, you see the same photo, but staged, which means we took the photograph and we digitally kind of implemented or imposed furniture on top of that photo.
And it looks photorealistic. I would almost guess that was real furniture. So I think, excuse me, to your credit and your team's credit, wow, isn't that amazing? It's crazy exciting.
Yeah, we've actually come a long way. If you go and look at the earlier videos that we posted, and if you look at the quality of the stagings that we did, say 6 months ago, they're not as high quality as they are today. We've really put an effort into the process, into the different technologies, the software suites, and the talent and the process that goes into making these. So we really, I'm confident to say that today we offer a really high quality virtual staging service. Not just the technical quality of the photo, but the whole package with the customer service and the accessibility and the reputation and how we handle our clients.
All right, terrific. Today's program, How to Sell and Price Virtual Staging. And I think you actually have a presentation you're going to take us through.
I do, yes.
Okay. So as Petra, if you're just tuning in, this is Blue Sketch founder, head designer, Petra Soderling, and she's going to take us through virtual staging, a little bit about what it is, about pricing it, how to market it, and
yes. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, and
be able to see a slide.
Okay, and then let's just quickly ask Emily. Emily, good to see you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can. Maybe a little louder would be good.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, Petra, you want to take us through your presentation, or did you want to ask Emily some questions to start off?
Why don't I just kind of start the presentation and talk a little bit about staging and Blue Sketch, and then Emily can kind of jump in, bring the client view and what you think that your clients are looking for.
Okay, and this is Emily Ullman that has joined us, which is the founder of Hopscotch Interactive in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, I have an agenda. We can, of course, deviate from this if we want to. But basically, I just wanted to talk about virtual staging in general, why it's a good idea. And then if any of you are currently resellers of Blue Sketch, virtual staging and other services, or if you're interested in becoming, how to sell them and what kind of support we can give. And then we can talk about the photographs, which are good and which are probably not so good. And then just a little bit about styles and design trends, not too much, because that's not very important. We're trying to sell houses, but still, we want our clients to be able to show stagings that are current and appealing. And then just a couple of related services at the end. So, excuse me, why staging? If you work in the space, you're probably familiar with the NIR study that they do. I think it's every second year. They published one 2015, and this one, 2017, they asked, they received 1,900 responses from their members, which are buyers, agents, and sellers agents, about staging. And this is physical staging, not virtual staging. So bringing actually furniture inside in the house when it's being sold. So 77%, which is phenomenal, 77% of these real estate agents said that staging a home made it easier for a buyer to visualize the property as a future home. It's surprising how many people find it hard to visualize a room, what it could look like, what the function would be if there are no furniture in it. And the second finding that I think was pretty interesting, 21% of the respondents said that staging a home increases the dollar value of the home between 6 and all the way up to 10%, which is pretty remarkable. And then also 39 people said that staging decreases the amount of time that the home is on the market. So that was physical staging. The next slide, entitled Why Virtual Staging, it's just the price, really nothing else. If you think about the visualization aspect.
The numbers are somewhat small on this, and I think just to give context, what we're looking at is pricing by the real estate, help me out, this is an association of real stagers, people that stage in person.
Yes, there's an association for real estate stagers.
And
that association kind of made a study or a summary of the prices for physical staging, and it's thousands of dollars.
So the number, the square footage, et cetera, is a little bit small. Maybe if you could just take one or two examples and say the average price of staging a property that is, let's say, 3,000 square feet.
Yeah, 3,000 square feet nationwide, the price would be anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000. And it could be even higher. Some stagers charge rent for the furniture, so that the longer the property is on the market, the more expensive the physical staging becomes.
So I think we have your permission to publish this in the We Get Around Network forum.
Yes, it's from public sources.
Because I look at this page, I know that the numbers are hard to see, but if you could imagine an association of stagers having an average rate of thousands of dollars for staging, that's going to be super interesting when Petra actually talks about what virtual staging costs, because it is pennies compared to multi-big dollars. So this page is like fascinating. I think if you're a Matterport service provider and you're talking to a client that is presently doing actual staging, you're going to blow them away of perhaps how much money you can save them while at the same time achieving the results that they want to achieve with their client.
Right, exactly. So of course it's not the same thing, because with the virtual staging, I'm gonna hop to the next slide. Virtual staging kind of, you have the staged photos up there on the listing, and people either are attracted to the place and see the potential and will come to see it in real life, or they won't. So the staged photos is a way to attract people to actually call the realtor and make the visit to the house. Obviously the house is going to be empty when they get there, but having the photos on their smartphone or maybe they printed them on their hand, it's still easier for them to visualize, okay, this is going to be the master bedroom and this is going to be the dining area, and I can fit my dining table right here. Was there a comment? No? Okay, sorry. So how to sell, that was kind of the title of the whole presentation today, how to sell BlueSketch virtual staging. Many of you are Matterport service providers, so you do the Matterport tours. Maybe you are also professional photographers at the same time, which is a great combination. So offering virtual staging as an add-on is a way for you to kind of bring additional value to your clients. We also have resellers who only sell virtual staging, 3D renderings. I have an example here. Actually, I might even jump on her page. Sorry, I have a.
That's okay. While Petra is
here from Florida.
That's all right. While you're looking for that page to share it, I just wanted to let you all know we've asked Emily to join us today, because in addition to being the founder of Hopscotch Interactive in San Francisco, Emily is a Matterport service provider. She's using BlueSketch for virtual staging, and I think it might be helpful for Petra and Emily to have a discussion about how that process is working. So Petra, I see you got your website back up there, so back to you.
Yeah, I think this is a really good time for Emily to kind of jump in. I'm showing one of our resellers from Florida, the way they are presenting virtual staging. So they have a lot of services. Virtual staging is one of them. And what they did for pricing, for example, they have bundled pricings, 1 photo, 3 photos, 5 photos. They have the before and after photos of living room, dining area, master bedroom. And then they also kind of tied it into the same statistics that we just talked about, the 2017 NAR survey, and kind of make the point of how you can shorten the listing time, increase the dollar value, and kind of help your clients visualize the place.
So I think I heard 3 benefits there, Petra. One is to increase the value of the the selling price of the house.
Yes.
2 is to sell the house faster.
Yes.
And the third was to help potential buyers visualize what the potential of an an unfurnished house might be.
Correct. Yeah. So for example, if you want to take Emily into the conversation, this could be something that you could offer to your clients in addition to the service, the Matterport tours, virtual reality solutions that you have, and so forth.
Exactly. And I think that as a Matterport service partner, what comes to mind when I look at this is that, you know, here's an example of somebody who has this on their website and who has just added it to their service offerings. And I think that the before and after photos are so compelling. And if I have my marketing hat on when I'm looking at this, you know, I can tell that there's just an entirely different emotional response to the pictures from the before and the after photos. And so I want people to also have that experience when they're looking at my website and deciding whether or not they're going to work with me. And so, you know, I think that that's sort of, you know, somebody can make the correlation. Well, you know, work with a Matterport service provider partner, and you know, you're going to get really incredible results, but then you're also going to be able to do these amazing things with the photos. And I think that it adds an additional level of service to your offerings. So that's what, I mean, what Petra is doing here and has been able to do for this, this client of hers, I think it's an astonishing amount of, you know, sort of persuasion that happens when you look at that page. And I think that does translate. And that's the thing is, like, if you're an MSP and you're using this, you want it to translate into more dollars for yourself as well. So I think it's super compelling, Petra.
Thanks. Yeah, I could actually just go back on the slides here. If you allow me, I have a couple of more examples on the before and after photos. So there are different things that we can do to support our reseller clients. One is marketing materials. Get that out of the way. So the format that we just saw on the Florida example page is a letter size PDF where we have the before and after kind of on top of each other. And that's a great format if you want to print them out when you have an open house, for example. We can provide other types of before and after photos. We have this almost like a square format that we use ourselves. In Instagram, for example, it shows much nicer on a smartphone than this kind of letter size format. And then we can also do these 920 by 1080 flat horizontal before and after formats, which work nice on a website or anything anybody wants. As I said in the beginning, we're a service company, so we're here to serve. And all of the marketing materials that we provide you guys are unbranded. So you can see the Blue Sketch logo here, but when I send these over to you, I will take that out.
So it's a little bit small. So if you could show that to us, maybe just mouse over it where the logo is.
Oh,
so yeah. So in the bottom,
the logo here.
Yeah, in the bottom right of each of those photos is the Blue Sketch logo. But when you provide the marketing materials for a reseller, they get the tools with white labeled without your logo.
Correct. And you can place your own logo there. And also when you actually place an order and we make the stagings commercially, there are no logos. So they're all white labeled.
Yeah, I know that you pointed out, Petra, the 3 benefits of virtual staging. I must add a fourth, which is help your client win more and bigger premium listings more often. This is another example of a real estate agent being able to differentiate their listing presentation by coming in and saying, in addition to doing Matterport and aerial and still photography, we noticed that when you have perhaps an empty house, that this is yet another service that we offer to help you win the listing where the homeowner's already moved, and it gets really hard for people to visualize an empty space. I know firsthand for me, it's like impossible. I absolutely cannot look at that empty space and then the dining room, for example, and then I look at what you did and I go, wow, that's amazing. That's how that could look. So I think it's always important to think about how you can. There's two things: is how you can help your client, a real estate agent or broker, or in other spaces as well, differentiate their listing presentation to win the listing and to be able to get more listings and to be able to get bigger, not necessarily in square feet, but in terms of dollars. And then the second thing is a Matterport service provider or whatever platform you're using for 3D photography is to differentiate your business to have a competitive advantage for someone else that may only be offering Matterport or maybe offering Matterport and photos. And so how do you differentiate yourself to make your competitor irrelevant because you're offering something that the others are not? And whether you do that as a bundle or offer it as optional extras, or even if you come back after you've made the sale, you have a really good client, they're doing projects with you, all the time. I know it can get very confusing to like tell somebody all the thousands of different services that we offer. So imagine you just scanned an empty space. You got the business, but engage Blue Sketch, create virtual staging of one or two or three of the rooms, and deliver it to the client and say, hey, thank you for your business. We really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, here is a service that we can provide for you going forward. First time, here it is, no charge. But going forward, here's how we charge for that service. So it's possible to, I think of it as like a Chinese restaurant. I mean, my wife and I go out for meals, and there's always an extra dish. There's a dessert. There's a fruit. There's something that comes up that's to surprise and delight. And virtual staging, I think, is an opportunity to surprise and delight a client and gift it. And I think as Petra goes through the pricing here, you go, wow, that's all it is. Wow.
Yeah. Talking about pricing, that was the next topic. I ran a very unscientific benchmark, and I think I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 companies providing virtual staging services in North America. And I just roughly calculated the average price of one photo, which is $72. Now that doesn't say much because we have to understand different companies have different business models. 2 of these require a monthly subscription, and then you have to think about the delivery time and the quality of the technical staging of the photo, quality of the design, what type of furniture they're using, and so forth. But just I wanted to put that $72 number out there for reference. And
I'd put the reference number of those that are presently paying for in-person real furniture showing up that's costing thousands of dollars.
Well, yeah.
That said,
That's
you showed
right.
that your competitors maybe are charging twice as much as what you are for probably a superior service that you're doing anyway. But truly, if you're running into clients that are engaging staging of properties, wow, you're gonna, because it's likely that price is coming out of the agent's or broker's pocket. So you could save the agent or broker thousands of dollars and still be able to win the listing. So
Right, absolutely. And this is sort of a pain point for many photographers also, Dan. I'm sure you've run into this yourself as well, but we're really not allowed to go in and shoot the spaces until they've been staged. And so in terms of your ability to generate more business for yourself more quickly, to be able to book it when it's convenient for you, rather than having to wait those extra 5-6 days. I mean, over Thanksgiving, this happened. This is happening next week also. Like, we're waiting until the staging is done to be able to then go into the space. So that's several $1,000s being paid by the realtor or the brokerage. And then, of course, you have to build your schedule around the staging, and then it's set. It's one kind of staging. You have no ability to change it once it's gone in. So I can't appeal to different tastes in furniture or different preferences for the way people might want a room laid out for a family versus a retiring couple, those kinds of things. So I think that there's there's a lot of aspects of this that this solves for. There's many aspects that it solves for, and I like the flexibility also of the just the digital assets. Just it's, you know, I'm such a fan of that. So
yeah, you know, Emily, you've probably run into what I would describe as we get the booking, and between the time that we get the booking and the time that we're supposed to shoot, the property gets sold and our shoot gets canceled. And
precisely.
I think that's in a, it's a hot market. So I'd almost, shift some of the conversation about the agent or broker winning the business even before helping sell the house faster,
Mm-hmm.
because agents are salespeople and it's all about the money. And if you can help them make more money and save them thousands of dollars. So it sounds like, Emily, you have some really great prospects where your agents or brokers are already hiring in-person staging to,
Absolutely.
to be able to come back and say, hey, whether you're just showing samples or whether you do an actual sample for an actual client and say, hey, just want to let you know we may be able to save you thousands of dollars on your next shoot or on your next listing, and oh, by the way, we can help you get the listing in MLS sooner.
That's the thing. Absolutely. You know, it's there. A lot of people will get listings, and then they'll have to push it a week to get it ready for these broker opens. And so they miss an entire week of having the folks walk through the home because they felt like they didn't have a way to help people visualize. And
So,
so,
so let me turn that into how an agent might talk to homeowners to say, I know you may be talking to other agents about, having them stage the house in person. One of the advantages of doing digital staging is we can get the house listed, sooner than waiting for the actual physical staging that maybe somebody else is doing. And when you start saying, well, how much is, I don't know what the monthly um, let's just say it happens to be a property that's 4,000 a month for a mortgage. So you're essentially, if you can get the house sold a week sooner, that's $1,000 to the homeowner sooner, meaning that
yeah,
they've undone the deal for what they might have been still keeping their house for a month under a mortgage that's costing them 1,000 a week. I'm
yeah,
trying to.
it's a whole domino effect, and that's exactly the point. Is that it's not just getting the staging in, listing the property. It's then getting the staging out, and then paying for that on the front end. And if it's been in there for a longer amount of time, paying it for it, to be rented, like Petra mentioned. I mean, it's just so many moving parts. And I think this does simplify for people considerably. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, and saving them money. If you can say, look, I'm going to save you at least $1,000, that's huge.
And maybe multiple thousands of dollars.
Multiple. It's absolutely the minimum price for staging in the Bay Area. Maybe you can get a friend to do it for $1,500, but it doesn't happen for less than $2,500.
That's a good segue, Petra, to 2,500 to how much do you charge for this?
So we charge $50 a photo. Last year we charged $50 per photo, period. Now we're offering the bundle. So if you order 3 or 4 photos, there's a 10% discount. So you end up paying $25 per photo. And if you order over 5 photos, there's a 20% discount. It's $40 per photo for any order of more than 5.
And that's for the same property.
That's for the same property, yeah.
Okay.
Right. And then, so that's the price for anyone who comes to our website and wants to buy virtual staging. But then if you're a reseller with Blue Sketch, or you're a basic, standard, or premium, we get a Round Network member, you get an additional 20% discount on top of these discounts. So if you compare that to the average $72 per photo price in the market, you can make a pretty nice profit on selling virtual staging.
Terrific. I would say it may not even be just the profit on the virtual staging. It may be the difference between getting a new client and keeping a client by providing more than perhaps just a 3D tour.
Yeah.
I think as a 3D tour is a tactic, as opposed to coming back with a campaign that's has all the visual storytelling, check the boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that. Excuse me. Kind of the trying to share other. How do I share this? I think I'm sharing.
Emily, are you excited to be talking to your companies, knowing they're spending at least $2,500 on virtual staging and looking at this pricing and what the deliverables look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, I do run into some hesitancy from people because everybody likes to do what they've been doing. But, if you want your company to also represent the, real estate technology and to show what's possible these days, I think that this is just another way to, support and enhance your story.
Yeah.
And, and Petra's product is so seamless. I think that that's one of the other things here is like, if it's going to take somebody's workflow and add a bunch of steps to it, they're not going to want to do it. But this is actually, it's very simple. It's not like it requires a ton of extra work.
Yeah, I'm sure Petra will take us through that. I guess I just add one other thing to what you said, Emily, is that, when I talk about win more and bigger premium listings more often, I try to keep it to three things. But if you're talking to a broker, it's actually a fourth thing. And that's typically, how do I recruit more tech savvy real estate agents? And so if a broker is saying, oh, by the way, if you're doing any listings that are empty, we'll provide the virtual staging for you. However, the broker and agent work out that relationship. In some cases, it's likely free. In some cases, it might be a subsidized. But whatever it is, this is an example of another tech-savvy solution to help brokers recruit tech-savvy real estate agents. And then I think, Emily, as you mentioned, it kind of checks the box for digital, because now you have things that you can share on Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram.
Yeah, it's all about, exactly. It's all about having those really enticing photographs and the gorgeous visuals. It just helps so much. And every agent I talk to, they're like, even if they're good at doing their own marketing on Twitter and Instagram, they're not going to make the assets themselves. And so they still need these service providers to give them the assets and to provide them with a package so that they can do their social media and that they can have great things to show.
So that's probably a good thing to zero in if you're, let's say you're a Matterport service provider like Hopscotch Interactive in the San Francisco Bay Area, is when you're talking to a client, if you know that they are social media savvy, this is just another digital asset that they can share. And these before and afters are magical. I think, Petra, back to you. I think you're showing some of the magic right now.
Yeah, I pulled up these. I have 3 example listings. When you were talking about making the real estate agent and broker look good and to win more listings more often. So just to be able to show, there's a listing for $575,000. If you have the empty dining room, it's kind of bleak, but then when you have the stage photo here, you really show the potential of, what it could look like. And also at the same time, then of course, the realtor ends up looking really good as well. So here's a photo of the living room when there are no furniture in it. It doesn't look very appealing, but then when you put the furniture in, it looks much better already.
Fantastic.
And then I had another one, which was kind of hard case because of the kind of the style. We're going to go into the styles later on, but this was kind of an old arts and crafts, Art Nouveau almost type of house, which was empty.
Excuse me, Petra, before you go too far, I know that we were lucky enough to catch Emily on the fly. We just have her about 5 minutes. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask or show and get her reaction to?
Yeah, Maybe this would be good to kind of really quickly review the MLS rules. There are some rules for virtual staging on your area. Different MLSs have different rules. The basic thumb rule for everyone is that you can change the photos basically as you would change the house without hiring a contractor or doing any building work. So you can put in furniture, you can take out furniture, but you can't go in and change the wall colors or the floor materials or anything like that.
That's super helpful. I didn't know that, Petra. Is that because they don't want you to sort of mimic some sort of like architectural renderings, and so you can't do that, but any furniture changes are fine? It's just sort of stuff that's a non-fixture?
Yeah, I think it's just probably they don't want to disappoint the potential home buyers, and they don't want to get into legal trouble for someone buying a house and the walls went green, even though they were green in the photo, or the floors were a different material. But anyone who's buying a house, they will know that it's going to be empty. There aren't going to be any furniture in it when they buy it. So there's no kind of legal liability anywhere for anybody.
But you don't have to, for instance, put like, in magazines, they'll say advertising when it's, like an advertisement, but it's paid or something like that. Do you have to disclose that it is a virtually staged image, or does that sort of, as long as you meet with those guidelines, like you can place it with other photos that are not staged and it's not a problem?
It depends. I forget where I got these screenshots. This one out of 3 here says participants shall clearly indicate the photo description the image has been virtually staged. So in some cases, yes, the MLS does require that.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. If I was doing it, I would label all my virtually staged images so that they said someplace, somewhere, that this is virtually staged. Even in the thumbnails of the example that we're looking at, I would imagine I could click on one and there'd be a place where I could see the title of the room. So it still might say master bedroom virtually staged. I would encourage everyone to label. I think second, Petra has some detailed notes on this MLS guidelines. I'd encourage you to, I think, if you're disclosing, that's a great thing. And then the other thing is, don't, even though you don't like that mahogany framing around the fireplace and the dark wood frames around the windows, don't ask Blue Sketch to change that, because that's not like moving furniture in and out. That now we're talking about
we can change it, but then don't upload it to any MLSs.
Yes, not something that you couldn't do, but I think Blue Sketch, Petra is going to want to help guide you to say, yes, we could do that, but I don't think you want to put your agent, broker, or yourself at risk, because you're doing something that's kind of outside the scope of what's generally accepted, which is if you can move furniture in and out of a space, that's okay, but don't start changing the colors of the wall and the trim around the fireplace as much as I don't like that mahogany. Don't do that. So Emily, I know you needed to run. You have any parting thoughts?
Well, I just had a question. Yeah, actually, Dan, and thank you so much. I've learned so much just working with Petra and talking to her. She's such an amazing resource, as you are, Dan. And I just, I guess my question would be, do you have the same limitations when you're staging a commercial space? Because the commercial space is pretty much assumed that it will go under some sort of renovation. When you are showing something that is not an architectural rendering, but is perhaps some other version of the space reimagined by someone, do you have the same? It's not going up on the MLS. It probably would go up on LoopNet or CoStar. Do you have the same limitations?
You know what? I don't actually know, because we haven't virtual staging is taking a photo and adding furniture on it. We haven't done that in commercial spaces. Usually when we do a commercial space, it's a digital rendering. So it's all digital, which is obvious to anyone that it's.
So that's a great question, and I'll make a point. I made a note. We'll ask that in the WGAN Around Network Forum, and we'll ask the question, anyone have any experience about doing virtual staging, not just of furniture, but of changing in particular in a commercial space, changing walls, moving walls, etc.
Yeah,
So
thank
that's a
you.
great question.
Yeah,
So,
it's wonderful. I appreciate it. Thanks for asking that, Dan. And thank you, Petra. Keep doing this amazing
thank
work.
you. So
Great to see you again.
That's
Great to see you.
Emily Ullman, Hopscotch Interactive, founder, Matterport service provider in the San Francisco Bay Area, joining us to give some color commentary from a MSP standpoint about virtual staging. And I know, Emily, you needed to run. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Petra. Bye, Dan. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Bye.
All right, Petra, back to you.
Yeah, so still, while we're on this MLS page, I just wanted to say that if you want to kind of mark the staged photos yourself, saying virtually staged, that's fine. But we will do that on your behalf if you want us to, and we can place your logo. So if you want to, you're a reseller and you want to give the staged photos to your real estate client, we can put your logo on them, or we can put your client's logo on them and just kind of type in virtually staged by you or by your client.
Yeah, I just amplify that a little bit because there are other virtual staging solutions where it's their logo. Too bad, so sad. And so I think you actually listen to what the client's needs are, whether the client is a service provider that wants their logo, or if the service provider wants their client's logo, or how do you want the files named. And I know from working with you all, you kind of have your job jacket for We Get Around Atlanta that says, here's the style guidelines for us, so you don't have to keep asking us how do you want the labeling of the imagery, where does our logo go, etc. So yeah.
Correct. In the floor plans, I think we have, I don't know, a dozen different ways of displaying the floor plans. And we have a lot of clients who have their really own tailored templates that we use.
Yeah, let me just reintroduce you for those joining us. You're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Today is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018. Our guest today is Blue Sketch founder and head designer Petra Soderling. She's taking us through how to market and how to price virtual staging.
Thanks. So we were on a listing before. I'm going to go back to the website listing. So excuse me. So before we got back to the MLS, we were looking at these photos of this very nice, beautiful $575,000 house. I wanted to talk about the quality of the photos. So these are obviously extremely high quality professional DSLR photos that stage extremely well, as you can see from this. Even though it's really stretched here on the screen, you can see that the kind of the resolution of the furniture is very sharp, as is the background. And that's kind of when we talk about what's a good photo and what's not such a good photo for staging, is if your background is blurry, then the furniture kind of has to be blurry as well, because otherwise it ends up looking strange. That's why we really prefer, especially now since we kind of developed this process and technique to the ultimate finesse, where I'm proud to say that I'm really happy with the quality. We'd rather stage really high quality DSLR or Matterport Pro 2 snapshots.
I just add one other caveat there, Petra, is that, your first choice DSLR quality HDR picture, second choice if you're using Matterport Pro 2 camera. That said, the Matterport Pro, the first generation camera, which we still have, We Get Around has the first generation, and we have we would never publish any of those pictures, the snapshots, directly out of the camera. We have them retouched. And it is quite amazing what a professional photo retoucher can do in terms of enhancing the color, the sharpness, the brightness, the tones, everything. So even if you're still shooting with the first generation Matterport camera, I just would say the caveat is either you do your own post-production to make that image shine, or there are other members in the We Get Around Network forum, Photo Spark you know, for example, that retouch images, real estate images, you know, for dollars. They're just not a lot. So if you got, you know, 20 images, or let's say you have, you know, 3 or 5 that you want virtually staged by Blue Sketch, I think just add a little process there, you know, get those images up to professional grade so that you can take advantage of the magic that Blue Sketch can do in terms of virtual staging. You know, I'm not even going to talk about lighting there, but it just looks like, you know, how you've been able to add the furniture and reflect the lighting of the space is beautiful.
Thanks. That's a really good point, what you mentioned about retouching and editing photos. We can, if you don't have anyone doing that for you and you can't do it yourself, we'll be happy to do that for you as well. So this was another example of really nice professional photographs. I have a third one where I don't know what kind of camera was used, but they're not as high quality photos as the previous example. Okay, let's go back. So here's a photo of a dining living area of a very small apartment, and we did put some furniture in.
Did I lose you, Petra?
Hello, can you hear me?
Did I lose you?
I can hear you well.
I think your screen might have frozen.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Good. We're back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It worked fine for me. I could hear you, and my screen was working.
Okay. Good. I apologize for the interruption. Why don't you?
Not at all. So I'm going to go back and share.
Okay, great.
Share the photo, because I think this is might be important to someone. Can you see?
Yes.
Sharing.
Yes.
So here's a staged room, and this is the unstaged room. So you can see, you talked about retouching images. So we did some color correction on this one. I was saying before that I don't know what kind of camera they used, but it's obviously, it might be a smartphone, or it just might be a digital pocket camera.
Let's see the final result again. Yeah, that's amazing, including correcting the verticals, which is so important to making that. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, why don't you go back and forth, toggle back and forth, because this is just such an amazing example. Say, oh, that looks depressing. Oh, how exciting. All of a sudden, you've changed a space from depressing to exciting. I mean, that's amazing. Did you change the color of the floor, or you just changed the...
No, we just did the color correction.
Color correction, okay.
Yeah, Lightroom editing.
Yeah, what a difference. But if you give Petra, if you give Blue Sketch great, you'll get great back. If you give them not so great, you'll probably still get great back, but some professional quality pictures I'm sure would be very appreciated by Blue Sketch. Also, yeah. Petra, this might be an appropriate time to mention that you did a half-hour video on how to take good photos for virtual staging. So we will go ahead and post that video into the We Get Around Network forum discussion about today. So it's pretty close to the top of the forum right now. We'll add that half-hour video to the forum discussion. So if you're ready to go try virtual staging, but you want some tips on how to shoot for virtual staging, Petra's done a whole half hour on that topic. And if you also want, just again, Petra has been on the WGAN TV in the past talking about all her services, and we'll make it easy for you. We'll publish that in the forum discussion as well. Petra, where are we in our chat? What else do you want to chat about?
Thank you. I'm going to go back to my presentation. I think we're coming towards the end. We kind of skipped the slide where we talked about photos, but I did show the examples, which speak for themselves. So the greater, as you said, the greater the photos, the greater the outcome. Matterport snapshots work well, even better edited smartphone pocket cameras. pretty well. And you just mentioned the videos. We have a booklet on that as well, which can be ordered from Blue Sketch.
Terrific.
So lastly, and also leastly, just a couple of words on
well, we skipped one slide. If you can just go back for a moment. I know that we talked. Yeah, I know that we talked about this, but I just want to point this out for our viewers: is that Petra has screen captured a number of MLS guidelines about virtual staging. I know that this is too small for you to read on WGAN TV. But we will, Petra's given us permission to, we'll do a screen grab of that. We'll post it in the We Get Around Network forum discussion on this, because I think this is tremendously helpful. Even just so that when you're having a conversation with the real estate agent and they say, gee, the fireplace is just so dated, could you please change the style, the shape, the color of it, that you might say, well, that's certainly, we can absolutely do that if you like, but we just want to make sure that you're MLS compliant, and guidelines typically state something like the following. So I think this is a really good slide, not for us to read to everyone on TV here, but know that this is a slide that we'll put in the We Get Around Network forum. And it's, I think, also available from you as well.
Absolutely.
From Blue Sketch.
And just the idea is to encourage everyone to check their own MLSs and what they say about virtual staging.
Okay, thank you.
Surprisingly, many do mention virtual staging separately. So styles and designs, I was going to say that, the purpose for virtual staging is to sell houses and kind of maybe also brand the professionals at the same time. We're not really following any design trends or styles in particular, but I wanted to bring up the point of design because sometimes it's very clear what type of home buyer profile a listing might have. If it's an urban kind of small studio apartment in the city center, maybe it's going to be a younger person or a couple who's buying the house or the apartments, excuse me. And maybe we want to reflect that in the interior design when we stage it. Also, if maybe it's a farmhouse or maybe it's a community, 55 plus community, we would take that into consideration when we do the interior design, because we just want to sell the house. A couple of other points is what I call reading the room. We're happy to take in requirements from the clients on the styles, but sometimes the purpose is also to create great looking photos, which will then attract people to actually visit the place. So I do want to point out that I think it's a great asset to allow our designers to kind of study the photo and then maybe stage the room or the photo based on what we see. So for example, here, our designer may look at the chandelier, they may look at the lighting in here and decide this could be a transitional style of staging, luxury, glam, a little bit based on what type of house and where it is. And also, I think I forgot to mention, we also want to look out of the window every time, because if maybe it's a seashore property, we want to put in something that's kind of like, coastal. Maybe it's a mountain view property. We would take that into consideration as well. So I just quickly go through kind of like 4 different photos.
And I know when you're giving pictures, you typically look like you're shooting into the corner. You need at least 2 walls. Your preference is 3 if you could.
Correct. Yes. So these are kind of random photos. Wouldn't work that great for staging, and you can see why. So here, for example, you can put maybe a chair here, maybe a side table. But do you really want to pay $50 for us to put a chair and a table in the photo? Why wouldn't you at the same time provide photos where we can put in, the whole.
So shoot from as far back as possible. If you got a wide angle lens, that's a plus. Is really as much floor area as possible, and then the perspective of having 2 walls and even potentially a 3rd wall is golden for you.
Correct. Great. So this was an example of trustic traditional style. Millennials love mid-century modern. Modern is always in style. It's a clean interior design style, which is very nice for selling a house. If you're really sure that this is going to be a millennial, maybe couple buying it, having, you know, your classic 1950s furniture, is probably going to help you getting that place sold. And just the final example, this is rare, but just kind of a very unique style, arts and craft. If this would be a residential house, it might be arts and crafts, Art Nouveau, almost an Art Deco style of window treatments in there. So
yeah, well, if you're in Miami and South Beach, you're likely to run into a lot of Art Deco. So that's good to know that you offer that. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Just trends. Like I said, we don't really follow trends, but we are aware of them. So for example, we've noticed that a few years ago, a lot of people liked industrial style, very kind of hard, heavy machinery type of furniture that's kind of out. Also the gray walls that used to be very fashionable are fading out a little bit. People are using warmer, earthly tones like terracotta tones. Not that it's a hugely important point, but wanted to bring that out. So that's that was pretty much my presentation. My final point was we do have other services when photos aren't an option. If the house hasn't been built, or you have a Matterport model of just the skeleton house that's being built, just beams up. We can create floor plans, and then we can also do the staged 3D floor plans and 3D renderings from inside the rooms to help guys sell the house faster for a higher price. That's all I had today.
So that's terrific. I think, Petra, what you've taken us through is maybe 4 or 5 different benefits of virtual staging. I think we covered to help sell. I'll start with the ones I like. Help win more and bigger listings more often, more and bigger premium listings more often. When a Matterport service provider is talking to a real estate agent or broker, they care about money. So if we can use virtual staging as a way to differentiate the listing presentation to win the listing, and then to win bigger premium, more money listings, and then kind of repeat this as more listings, win more and bigger premium listings more often. And I think what you've taken us through also is to say, hey, we can help you sell the house faster. We can help, as I think Emily pointed out, we can help list the house faster, which is an advantage to the homeowner, because as they can sell the house sooner, they can get out from their mortgage sooner and get onto their new life. We talked about enabling a potential buyer to appreciate the home, perhaps in a way that they couldn't visualize. So to help increase the help sell the home faster, and the statistics you were showing help sell the home for more money because it's virtually staged. And I think we also covered some of the things like what are the competitors? Well, if you're a Matterport service provider, I think Emily gave a great example in the San Francisco Bay Area. I don't know why I say real staging, but when actual furniture is moved into a space that it's going to cost, at least in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, $2,500 to do actual staging that takes extra time, and now you're talking about potentially being able to save your client thousands of dollars, and be able to list the property sooner because everyone's not waiting around for the staging company to actually do the in-person staging. So I think it's a good time. Was there anything else to recap in terms of benefits?
No, I think you summarized it real nicely.
It's good. Okay, good. So if you're just tuning in, or you missed the entire program, our guest today on WGAN TV Live at 5 has been Blue Sketch founder and head designer Petra Soderling. We're going to go ahead and we've recorded today's program probably tomorrow. Thursday that we'll have posted the video to the forum so you can see the entire program. There's some, I think, some tools that Petra, I think, was going to share with me perhaps afterwards, and I'll make a point to add that to the forum. So in the We Get Around Network forum, you'll have all these resources about virtual staging. And then obviously, as Petra had mentioned, if you're a We Get Around Network Basic, Standard, or Premium member, there's some special savings for you on 2D floor plans, 3D floor plans, virtual staging. Check your welcome on board membership letter for how to get the promo codes for that. And if you're not already a member, there's around 40 different membership benefits, including savings with Blue Sketch. So please join, joinstandard.com. Blue Sketch, visit their website. It is Blue, B-L-U-E. Maybe you can take us back to that just for a second, Petra. Is B-L-U-E hyphen sketch.com, bluesketch.com. And just to give you a couple quick things to look for is if you go back to the...
where did I lose it? I can't.
Yeah, we're going to go, but the bluesketch.com is under services. So if Petra clicks on services up on that corner, and you'll see there is virtual staging. So if she just pulls down there, that's where you're going to see a lot of before and after examples. You'll see pricing. It's a very easy process. Use a shopping cart to say, I'd like this, that, or the other, and you're good to go. So Petra, if you just come back off of that, I just wanted to just kind of wave at you and say thank you so much for joining us today. Always good visiting with you. And
my pleasure.
I think you're working out of your house today. I'm working out of my house today.
Yeah, it's getting dark already.
It's getting dark. So yeah. It's time to go. Thank you so much again, Petra.
Thank you, Dan. Okay. It was my pleasure.
And thank you all for tuning in to WGAN TV live at 5 from New Orleans, and Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, bye all. Thanks, Petra. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay.